T-bills are now yielding 5% or more. And I know many of you, like myself, have been shoveling hundreds, if not thousands of dollars into treasury bonds over these past few months for the guaranteed returns on our cash. The more money that I start to put into my T-bill allocation, the louder the voice in the back of my head starts to get, saying, should I really be doing this? Am I making a mistake? Am I gonna regret putting this much money into T-bills right now? And it's not that T-bills or other treasury bonds aren't safe. I'm not at risk of losing any of the money I put into T-bills. But what about the opportunity cost? What if by taking the safe, guaranteed returns that I'm getting from treasury bonds, I'm missing out on making even more money through a different investment? After all, I remember back to right before the financial crisis in 2007-2008. I had a high-yield savings account from HSBC that was paying me 5.25% interest. And I was fresh out of college and didn't have a ton of money at the time. So loading up in that high-yield savings account and seeing those interest payments roll into my account every month was really satisfying. It felt like a great financial move. Except that as the stock market started to crash and the interest rate on that savings account started to fall, I just kind of left the money in there. Thankfully, I was smart enough where I was investing in the stock market at that time. But if I had just examined my options a little closer, maybe I could have been more aggressive and put more of that savings account money to use in the stock market, which would have compounded the best stock market returns I'm likely to see in my life. So the last thing that I want to happen right now is to be blinded by a safe, seemingly good return, and once again miss out on a much better opportunity somewhere else.
Just fooled me once. Shame on you. It fooled me, we can't get fooled again.
I'm gonna take this video and kind of analyze my thought process on the pros and cons of investing in T-bills right now, and explain why I, and maybe we, may or may not end up regretting the amount of money we're investing in them right now. And I don't do this often anymore. But if you do like the videos I put out, it would mean a lot to me if you'd consider subscribing. Those of you that keep coming back and keep watching my videos week after week, you're the ones that make this all worth it, and I appreciate you. So, T-bills. Are we missing out on higher returns elsewhere? And if we look at it, even at 5% or a little more right now, treasury bonds are returning below the historical average of the stock market, which is generally around 7 to 8%. And with the stock market still down 10 to 15% from its highs a little over a year ago, it seems like a strong signal that better than average returns are likely headed our way in the stock market as long as we maintain that long-term buy and hold mentality. And that's not to mention, inflation is still above 6%, so even getting 5% or so with T-bills, we're still not keeping up with inflation and the purchasing power that our cash is losing. Both of those are big reasons to kind of take a step back and analyze what we're doing with our cash. The next question we have to answer when deciding if T-bills are worth it or not is, am I okay with having my money locked up for the duration of that T-bill I buy? Because as we discussed in my original overview of T-bills, because of their relatively short durations, they don't make regular interest payments. So in order to earn that stated return on our investment, we have to hold them until maturity. That means our money is going to be locked up anywhere from 1 month to 1 year, depending on the exact duration we choose. And the high yield savings accounts are now paying 4.5% or more in interest. So is it worth it to lock up access to my cash from anywhere from a month to a year just to earn an extra 0.5% to 1% on my money? That's another thing we've got to decide here. And speaking of having that money locked up for the time period, interest rates are still rising. So how long do I want to lock my money up in a T-bill right now if that rate is only going to continue getting higher? Yes, you can sell T-bills on the secondary market if you need, but with rates rising, the T-bills you're holding with the lower interest rates are going to be worth less and possibly sold at a loss. If interest rates are going to keep rising, why don't I just wait? So those are some of the big downsides I can think of on why I might not want to be buying many T-bills right now. If I'm being honest, the opportunity cost of missing out on a better investment is the only one of those that I can foresee leading me to actually regret purchasing T-bills instead of some other investment. But I don't think that's going to happen. In fact, I can guarantee that I won't regret my T-bill purchases. Here's why. Like I mentioned in a previous video, the money that I'm personally investing in T-bills is not money I'm even considering investing in the stock market. I don't put any money in the stock market unless I am sure that I can leave it there invested for a minimum of 5 years. And the money that I'm investing, the money I'm putting into T-bills, well, that money is technically part of my emergency fund. It's a portion of my emergency fund that I can afford to leave locked up in something like T-bills for 3 to 6 months at a time without causing too much of an issue. So the money that I'm putting into T-bills is money that was always going to be held as some form of cash. So yes, I am totally fine locking it up for a short duration like T-bills are, just to earn that extra 0.5% or 1% on my money. For some people, this next thing might actually be a negative, but for me, it's a positive, and that's taxes. There's probably a healthy portion of you out there right now that dread getting that 1099 from Treasury Direct. But for my situation, the taxation on T-bills is actually a positive for me investing in them. That's because, like I just said, this is money that I was going to be holding in a savings account or a bank account anyways. So the interest I would be earning on it in that high yield savings account, I'd still have to pay taxes to the IRS on that. But I live in New York, and New York has state income taxes. So if I left this money in my bank account, I'm also paying New York state tax on that money. But when I invest it in T-bills, T-bills are exempt from state and local taxes. So not only am I earning more interest on my money, but I'm also avoiding that New York state tax on that. So it's a nice little extra added bonus for someone like me to invest my extra cash in treasury bonds instead of a high yield savings account. Another reason I am sure I won't regret investing my money into T-bills right now is these T-bill yields aren't going to last forever. The Fed has stated they're looking to top out their interest rate hikes sometime in the middle of this year. Then once they do that, they're going to hold the rate steady for at least a year. So with the T-bill laddering strategy I outlined in this video, I keep taking advantage of the current rates as they rise. Then, once those rates do level out, I can switch over to buying 1-year T-bills and try to lock in the absolute best zero risk interest rate I can get on my money as the rates start to get lowered sometime in 2024. So as long as you're remaining principled on the money you're using to buy your T-bills, and you're solid on the reasons that you're buying them for, there is no reason it's going to be a decision you'll come to regret. Watch this video up here for more on my T-bill strategy. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time.